From our studios here at Koko Mlemle in Accra, hello, good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I am Carlos Kaloni. Tonight, pressure mount on Special Prosecutor as a group demands his immediate resignation, warning they will force him out if he refuses after submitting their petition to the presidency. Also tonight, the Mineral Income Investment Fund comes under scrutiny as documents intercepted by Joy News reveal how its top officials racked up over 11 million cedis in overseas travels without the finance minister's approval. And Minority in Parliament questions extension granted to Inspector General of Police, who will stay on for 2 more years. Despite hitting the mandatory retirement age, we have details as they cite the move as unnecessary. And later, President Mahama puts to rest speculation about new appointment to the Defense and Environment Ministries, stating that he is in no hurry at all to fill the positions. My Joy News is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Stay with us. Tonight, pressure is mounting on Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin as a group of Ghanaians stage a protest in Accra demanding his immediate removal from office. Led by Apostle Abraham Lincoln Labi and lawyer Martin Kpebu, the protesters accuse him of failing to fulfill his mandate, claiming the office of the Special Prosecutor is no longer serving its intended purpose. Fatal Bayaga report.
Led by Apostle Abraham Lincoln Labi, the group is demanding the immediate removal of the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabin. United in one voice, they insist he is not fit.
We don't hate him, but we hate his works. Look, this is a person who plays on our intelligence. One way or that, you have to sign resignation letter straight. You don't deceive. You are not fit for that job. You have to be sacked. Even so, we will force you to sign resignation letter.
According to Martin Kpebu, Kisi Ejabin allegedly connived with former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to facilitate his exit from the country. Therefore, he must vacate his office.
So when your special prosecutor comes to lie to Ghanaians that he was attempting to arrest Ofori-Atta and yet he has no evidence of it and the state institutions are denying, that alone is sufficient for Kisi Ejabin to resign.
The protesters eventually presented their petition to the presidency, where it was received by Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Shamima Muslim. She thanked the group and assured them that the petition would be forwarded to the president.
His Excellency has assured all citizens, all manner of citizens, all people of various political persuasions, that he is a president that believes in the rights of the citizens of Ghanaians, and he has assured that no citizen must feel fearful in their expression of their rights. And so we see your demonstration here today as a way of activating our Constitution, which is a live document. So you are welcome, and we are happy to receive your petition this afternoon.
Martin Kpebu later appeared before officials of the OSP after the protest to respond to questions regarding claims he made against the Special Prosecutor.
Specifically, Samit Aku had said he called me about 15 times, and I've dared him, I've given my consent, and I'm giving it again. I should take that number that called me and take my number. He knows that 024 number. They should go to MTN and get the call record for just that call to see if he called 15 times.
For Joy News, Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Well, let's expand the conversation with Professor Kojo Epiejetia, who joins us via Zoom this evening. Grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. Under the Act establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the office holder can only be removed on specific grounds, that is misbehavior or incompetence, incapacity due to physical or mental infirmity, or willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy. And so, given these provisions, do the reasons cited by the those who are calling for his resignation actually are they based on this grounds as stated by the Act?
Thanks for having me. Actually, you missed a fourth one, which is conduct which brings or is likely to bring the office of the Special Prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt, or is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. And I think probably that is where there may be a basis for determining if, in this particular instance, whether the current OSP could be removed from office, considering the fact that the issue concerns the economy, or in particular, because of the SML issue that is at the center of it. But having said that, I think that this should not be a basis to really question the office of the prosecutor and ask him to resign. It looks like some missteps have been taken by the office, but I don't think the capability of the OSP, the Special Prosecutor, is questionable. If it is about the office itself that they are asking for some changes or some ways to strengthen its capacity to deliver, then I think that is a right call. But I don't think that with what has happened with regard to how the Kanoferata issue has been handled, it gives a strong enough foundation to call for the removal of the Special Prosecutor from office.
What would this mean for Ghana's democracy if they succeed in getting him off office?
Well, I think that based on the history that we've had in recent times regarding the removal of the Chief Justice in particular, I think it will raise some eyebrows. It would look as if there is an orchestrated attempt to remove people from certain positions, which will weaken the accountability mechanism of the country. And so it may be seen differently from, even though legally and procedurally the right steps may have been taken. So I will urge caution and to be slow in how this issue is handled so that we don't rush to call for the removal of the Special Prosecutor from office.
Thank you so much, Prof, for speaking to us here on Joy News Prime. We're going to move on to some other crucial stories to look at what has been happening in the country over the last 24 hours, because President John Dramani Mahama has approved a 2-year extension for IGP Christian Tete Yohono following a recommendation by the Police Council. Now, the extension allows Yohono to continue leading the Ghana Police Service beyond the compulsory retirement age of 60. But this decision has drawn criticism, especially after the government earlier this year ordered the suspension of all post-retirement contract appointments for retired public service staff across the country. Now, the directive issued on April 2, 2025 and signed by the Secretary to the President initially meant that IGP Yohono, appointed earlier this year, was expected to retire in December 2025. Former Defense Minister Kofi Emenkwamenu, however, insists the move is unnecessary and could undermine morale among senior officers of the Ghana Police Service.
Really do not augur well for, the full the commitment of people. You need people to work for something. And by way of doing that, when they work, knowing very well that tomorrow they can be recognized and be made IGP, but then, you just cut it off because you have one person who probably will do your bidding. Well, I think it's for me, if you ask me, it's a sorry state. Precisely. And for me, it will even kill that spirit of wanting to work hard to see the police grow. Because after all, there will be nothing to look up to, nothing to fight for. So you can do everything, but not all things are worthy of doing. So you really, it's a balancing act. And being a president, I think that these are some of the things you need to balance so well, so that you can have, people giving off their best.
Well, let's go on Zoom now and speak to a security analyst, Dr. Festus Obin. Grateful for your time here on Join Israel. What do you make of the decision by the, Police Council to extend the tenure of the IGP?
Thank you very much. I think it has its own positives and also negatives. And on the positive side, I will say that it signals that the government values stability in the police by maintaining continuity in leadership. And it also reflects a confidence in the IGP's leadership and the alignment with the government alignment with his vision. I mean, for the police service. And it's also positive in the sense that it also helps to sustain ongoing reform process and also the progress that has been attained, as well as the modernization efforts within the service, where if there's a change of leadership could derail some of those efforts. But on the negative side, as has already been espoused by the opposition, that extending his tenure also delays succession within the service, because other officers may be eyeing the position, and what it means is that they have to wait, which could also create some discontent and tensions within the service, and also create some perception of favoritism sometimes within the service. But more importantly, others may also view this as political patronage, especially if it is being given to reward loyalty rather than performance. Because, sometimes some of these extensions are sometimes driven by political motives and not institutional need. And when that happens, sometimes it also undermines confidence and trust of the public within the service.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on that critical issue with regards to our police system. Now, still on security, President John Mahama has indicated that he is in no rush at all to appoint new Defense and Environment Minister, explaining that the vacancies will be filled after the Christmas holidays, which is next year. Now, speaking at the Jubilee House during a courtesy call by the Ghana Muslim Mission, the president addressed the ongoing speculation about the ministerial positions which became vacant following the tragic helicopter crash that claimed the lives of both ministers and 6 other officials.
A lot of hard work. It's taking fiscal discipline. We've had to be disciplined, all the appointees. We made a promise to appoint not more than 60 ministers, and some people said, how are you going to work with only 60 ministers? As I speak today, we're working with 58 ministers because, unfortunately, they say Allah gives and Allah takes. He took 2 of our comrades, and we haven't filled those positions yet. I can see people speculating he's going to appoint a new defense minister, a new environment minister. We're not in a hurry. I'll do those appointments next year after the holiday, the Christmas and the New Year. We'll fill those positions. And so those speculating about somebody going to be appointed tomorrow and all that, I mean, just take your time. Go and enjoy Christmas. And then after Christmas, we will take a decision on those ones.
Well, let's bring in another security analyst, Victor Doke. Grateful for your time. Now, concerns have been raised actually about delays in appointing substantive ministers for environment and defense, especially for the defense ministry. Now, the president has outlined his timeline next year. The question is, does this settle the issue, or does it raise potential security risk for the country?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think, one, it's good he came out with a timeline. 2, in dispensations such as this, where you have threats, the dynamics related to threats changing every time, it is essential for you to fill in the position of a defense minister and have a substantive rep there who is a political face in that sector, who takes decisions, who liaises with the political appointees, i.e. in Interior Ministry, the police service, or whatever. Now, let's not forget that the defense is a very important sector in that it oversees not only internal but external. Collaboration is very essential. You're looking at the threats that our neighbors are facing with regards to armed elements, banditry, and whatnot. Now, all this requires you to have a substantive leadership who engages in regional, bilateral, multilateral engagements on terrorism, on security phases, to also contribute to discourse on how to eliminate all these threats. There has been talks about activating the standby force with 1,650 men. You need the defense minister to partake in that discussion when other ministers of defense have also engaged in those kind of discussions. Now, let's come back home. There are issues that we are facing, i.e. Galamsey, inter-ethnic conflict and whatnot, proliferation of small arms and light weapons. Yes, you have other appointees in other sectors, but the defense is core. It coordinates all these other sectors into one, where you have this political head there who is the rep of the president himself taking decisions. There are some signatories that the deputy or acting defense minister cannot take unless you have a substantive defense minister. So I think timeline is good next year, but in defense, in security, anything can happen anytime. And we don't want to get to the position where we say, I told you so. Right. Let's make it a point that in as much as possible that we have given a timeline, the position should have a substantive minister immediately, as soon as possible. Now and next year, personally, I don't see any difference in it.
Thank you so much for your perspective on this crucial national security matter. Let's not take you to Parliament, because Parliament is sharply divided over the High Court decision to annul the 2024 parliamentary result for the Pandai constituency. The court ruled that the election was void and ordered a fresh poll within 30 days. Lawyers for MP Matthew Nyindam have filed a stay of execution as they prepare to appeal, a move stirring strong reactions on both sides of the House. James Aveji reports.
Following the ruling of the Tamale High Court, lawyers of MP Matthew Nyindam have already filed a stay of execution pending an intended appeal against the ruling. Although the MP himself was not on the floor a day after the ruling, his colleagues on both sides of the House have held strong opposing stance on the matter. Ranking member on the Constitution and Legal Committee, Kwame Anyimedu-Entry, for instance, believes that Honorable Nyindam remains a duly elected member of Parliament and must not be prevented from coming to the House.
Well, I think that, yes, he has to come and perform his duties if he has filed there, because the application in itself would act as a stay. And if you give a judgment, it doesn't mean that they say exactly when the judgment is given, you start counting. So he will come to Parliament until we see the court processes.
MP for Ashaiman, Ernest Nogbe, disagreed. He does not only think the decision of the court bars the MP from the House, but also believes that the NDC is in position to snatch the seat to strengthen their already absolute majority.
The law is the law. The law must take its course. But as a student of law, I cannot say otherwise. So that is the position of the law. So we have to just take it like that. It's a settled matter. Be that is me, it's a settled matter. I don't think it will go anywhere. It may only be legal gymnastics to derail or to delay the process.
Meanwhile, the battle over which government performed better is on as the House continues debate on the 2026 budget statement. James Saveji, Parliament House, Accra.
Well, let's take you to Parliament, because Parliament is now considering the value-added tax bill 2025 under a certificate of urgency at the second reading stage. The chairman of the Finance Committee has moved the motion, but the minority is pushing back, accusing government of sneaking in new and increased taxes through the back door. Let's head to Parliament now and speak to my colleague James Aveji. James, what is the latest on this particular development on the VAT issue?
Well, Carlos, so this VAT Bill 2025 was introduced to Parliament right after the reading of the budget somewhere last week, which sought to calculate the entire VAT reforms that the Finance Minister announced in the 2026 budget. Today, this evening, the second reading of that bill was put on the other paper addendum, and just a few minutes ago, the chairman of the Finance Committee, Honorable Isaac Adongo, put before the House that the committee, from a majority decision, has decided to take this under a certificate of urgency. The minority leader, Alexander Penyumakin, raised concerns about why the government or the majority decide to bring this issue to the floor at this time of the day and trying to push it through. He alleges that despite the government assertions that they are going to cut down on the VAT, they would rather be introducing new VAT and increasing current ones through the back door. And so the matter is currently being debated on the floor. The motion that has been moved has not been seconded yet, but when that is done, the second and third readings will be taken in succession, and we'll be looking forward to that tax reform being approved as part of the 2026 budget through the value-added tax bill 2025, Carlos.
Thank you so much, and we'll keep our eyes on that particular development and update our viewers accordingly. Now, a document obtained by Joy News revealed that the board and senior management of the Mineral Income Investment Fund spent over 11 million cedis on foreign travel in 2024 without government approval. In 2020, the Finance Ministry issued a directive stipulating that a public service officer should travel on official business without prior authorization, with all such trips requiring approval through the Office of the Chief of Staff. But MIIF officials reportedly ignored the rule, raising questions about how public funds are being managed. Kwete Nate has more in the following report, read to you.
According to the confidential report by the Ghana Audit Service, the board and key management of the Minerals Income Investment Fund spent more than 11 million cedis on foreign travel in 2024 without the required approvals. The report stated that the trips were undertaken without prior authorization from the Chief of Staff, the Sector Minister, or the Chief Director. The administrative guidelines for the implementation of foreign travel allowances issued by the Ministry of Finance in October 2020 stipulate that public servants of the rank of director and below must seek approval from the Sector Minister or, where appropriate, the Chief Director. However, this wasn't the case. According to the auditors, MIIF's disregard for this directive led to the infraction. In response to the audit findings, MIIF's head of human resource indicated that all travels requiring approval from the Chief Executive Officer or Chief Director were duly cleared. He further explained that for international travel requests involving public servants above the director grade, the HR and Administrative Department acted on directives from the CEO's Secretariat, adding that all request memos were available for verification. Former MIIF CEO Edward Nana Yao Cranton, however, stated that the Chief of Staff at the time had been informed of all the trips, but the auditors noted that no correspondence between MIIF and the Chief of Staff was provided to confirm this claim. Speaking before the Public Accounts Committee recently on high expenditure costs on conferences and related activities, acting MIIF CEO Justina Nelson explained that the expenditure was necessary to give the fund the visibility and capacity needed to operate its new office.
What really went into it were a few things, that is the training, the conferences, because it's a mining fund. So we needed to go out to be able to get that visibility and also woo people in, and a few things as well.
Another audit of MIIF's financial statements and annual report revealed that the fund also spent over 2 million cedis on sitting allowances within 2 years. In 2024 alone, 1.2 million cedis was paid as sitting allowances, While almost 1 million cedis was paid in 2023, the board members during the last administration was 9. When Joy News contacted those cited in the audit, they declined to comment. This is Kwiti Nate's report.
Well, joining us via Zoom is the programs officer at the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, Samuel Harrison Kojo. Grateful for your time. How worrying is this form of anti-corruption? I mean, what you just saw in that video, what is your perspective on it when it comes to corruption and tackling it?
Thank you very much for having me. I would say that what we have seen in the video points to governance lapses. And regarding what I know about the MIIF, I think that what we have seen in this video is just a tip of the iceberg of a larger problem that is brewing. We know that MIIF started as a precursor to the whole Ejapa deal, but when the Ejapa deal collapsed, MIIF wasn't collapsed, so we're left with MIIF. We know that MIIF has received about 80% of $1 billion since 2020. And what happens is that, according to the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ghana receives about $200 million every year as mineral royalty. And MIIF controlled about 80% of that. So from 2020 up to 2025, that's about $1 billion. Now, there are two things that I think that we have to do. And that's why I'm saying that what we are seeing in the audit report you are showing us is just a tip of the iceberg. First, we have to audit the MIIF, their fund inflows and their expenditure. And I see that this audit has spoken about some of the expenditure they made, but we need a forensic audit, a deeper audit into their funding inflows and their expenditure. And then we need to also audit their investment. What have they invested in and what has been the return on investment? I think that until we deal with this governance challenge, then we are not going to be able to deal with the MIIF. And what we are seeing in this audit report you have shown us is just a tip of the iceberg.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison, for speaking to us here on Joy News Prime. And you're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Caloni. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll tell you more. Please stay.
Head of Human...
Welcome back. Now to some other stories. A deplorable road in the Ofinso North District is having life and death consequences for the farming community of Siseko. While farmers watch their harvest routes unable to reach market, pregnant women face perilous journeys during labor. Residents are pleading with the government to end the decades of neglect. Anas Sabit has more.
In the fertile lands of the Ofinso North District lies the farming community of Siseko, a place rich with potential where the earth yields abundance but where a single crumbling path threatens to choke the life out of its people. This is the road that links Siseko to the outside world. For decades, this vital artery has been in a state of advanced decay. And for the farmers who are the backbone of this community, this isn't just an inconvenience, it is an economic blockade. Kofi Adams is a resident farmer here. One major problem as a people is our roads. When it rains, our farm produce go waste because the buyers won't come here, and those who manage to come here buy them at very cheap rates, so it affects us as farmers. The economic loss is huge, and the consequences of this neglected road touches the most critical moments of human life. The road is bad, and so the trucks don't come here at all. As a result, we run at loss because our produce, like tomato, cannot be kept for longer periods because it goes waste after some few days. The financial losses are staggering. But the human cost of this neglected road casts even deeper, becoming a matter of life and death. Mary Boachua, a mother of 5, says the road affects women in labor, leading to loss of pregnancies and, in the most case scenario, death. Women in this area are going through difficulties, particularly during pregnancies. The road network leads to loss of life sometimes. When in labor, we are forced to use motorbikes or sometimes tricycles to the hospital. Some lose their babies and others lose their lives in the process. The plea from Sisiku is not new, but the desperation is growing. They feel their community, despite feeding the nation, is being left behind. They appeal to President Mahama to come to their rescue. We are appealing to President Mahama to come to our aid and help construct our roads for us. The people of Sisiku have done their part. They farm, they work the land. Now they are waiting and hoping that the current administration will finally do its part and construct this lifeline. For Joy News, I am Anas Sabit reporting from Sisiku.
Well, silence fills the St. Louis and Wesley Colleges of Education in Kumasi as the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana begins an indefinite strike. The association accuses government of ignoring arbitral award directives and delaying teaching allowances. The action has left students worried that the lost contact hours could disrupt the academic calendar. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku visited the campuses and filed this report.
Silence fills the campuses of the St. Louis and Wesley Colleges of Education in Kumasi as teachers abandon lecture halls in protest of their poor working conditions. The Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana has boycotted their services after the government failed to implement its arbitral award orders and other emoluments for their teaching services. The impact of the indefinite strike is prominent on the campuses as students are left stranded. When the news team visited the St. Louis College of Education, students were seen gallivanting the corridors of the campus, with the majority of them stuck in their rooms.
I woke up today, no class, so I've slept like for all this while, eating, drinking, nothing on campus. In fact, we are pleading on their behalf that the government should settle the debt because this is so strange. Then we would have to ask our seniors, those ahead of us, to be teaching us, because we can't be there and then whenever questions will come, you've learned nothing and they're expecting you to write something down.
This is not the first time such industrial action is taking place over similar concerns, but the students are worried the indefinite strike would heavily impact the academic calendar.
When we were in our level 100 second semester, the teachers went on strike. We also observed that SRC week. The academic calendar didn't change, and they didn't consider the fact that teachers are on strike, so maybe they are giving us some days or some time to learn ahead of the incoming exams or exams that which we are going to partake in.
We are affiliated to the University of Winneba, and we share the same courses with them. We do the same courses with them. But here is the case that they are studying. They are not on strike. They are doing the same things with us, but they are studying. And our problem is that we are on strike, and we wouldn't be taking into consideration that we are on strike. And so whatever exam they will take, since we are affiliated to them, we will be asked to take the same exams, the same tests as them, and that wouldn't be in our favor.
And with that, it happened that they had to change our calendar, and we had to spend only a month in school. Within that month, we had to study and we had to write exams to topics that we used about 4 months to cover. We had to use only 1 month to cover, and it was really bad. It's really affected us.
Although a majority of students at the Wesley College of Education were also found not in class, a few teachers met the students for some lessons.
For now, some lectures, they come to lectures, but some students also go to the class to do their own private studies. Some also they inside doing their whole lot of things. As us now, one of the lectures are called us to come for lectures. So it's one that call us that if you have nothing to do, they are also available, so we should meet them for some discussions.
Since morning, we've not been to class. Yeah, so,
are you worried?
Very much. We are worried.
Why?
Because we have few weeks to Christmas break and this too has popped up, so it will definitely disturb our studies.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bratsqueko.
Well, as cyber attacks grow more frequent and more sophisticated, many institutions are struggling to afford the protection they need. Virtual InfoSec Africa says its new AI-driven subscription-based SIEM tool could change that, offering organizations strong cybersecurity without the heavy upfront cost. There's more in the following report.
Institutions and businesses have been armed with modern tools to help safeguard them against cyber threats. This is being done by Virtual InfoSec Africa in partnership with Exabeam, which has rolled out a new AI-driven monthly subscription SIEM system for this purpose, according to the Chief Executive Officer of Virtual InfoSec Africa, Emmanuel Sechere. The tool offers stronger protection because its data is securely stored. He adds, the innovation will also support government's digitalization agenda by reducing financial pressure on institutions.
I can confidently say this is the first of its kind in the world. With our experience with building SIM across the world, we realize that, especially in Africa, people need a service, but it's expensive. So together with our partners, we designed this concept, how best we can deploy those solutions to them, where they pay the subscription monthly instead of paying out from 12 months. It's never been done by any company in the world, so we're proud to have done this. And I believe that this is who we're going to save government so much money in terms of foreign reserves. If we're able to get something like that, where costs will be spread over monthly, if a 12-month cost spread over monthly, it's going to also help in our foreign exchange reserve. So this is what we did, just to bring technology in the doorstep of people's cyber solution, where they spread payment monthly, and it's never been done anywhere. And we're proud to be associated with this development.
Well, we'll take a short breather. When we return, we have showbiz. Let's stay.